Imagine a country being born from a sentence, not a battlefield. A sentence that claims all men are created equal. Now imagine writing it while the world around you is anything but equal. That contradiction is the real start of America. And in 2026, America turns 250. So let's talk about 1776 without the myth filter. Because the truth is sharper, messier, and more human. And it explains why Americans still argue about the same ideas today. Before 1776, most colonists did not wake up dreaming of independence. Many wanted reform inside the British Empire. They protested, petitioned, and negotiated for years. Independence was a leap, not a plan. Britain was the superpower of the Atlantic world. The Royal Navy controlled trade like a gatekeeper. British goods filled colonial homes, markets, and ports. Breaking away meant risking your livelihood, your safety, and your future. Taxes mattered, but power mattered more. Colonists believed consent was the source of legitimate rule. Parliament believed empire worked through obedience. That clash made compromise harder every year. Then violence made the argument permanent. Lexington and Concord turned tension into war. Once blood was spilled, neutrality became dangerous. People had to choose sides, even when both sides felt risky. In early 1776, the colonies were still divided. Loyalists feared chaos and believed rebellion would ruin everything. Patriots feared that delay would invite stronger British control. Many ordinary families feared both and wanted peace. The Declaration of Independence was written inside that fear. It was not a magical spell that created a nation overnight. It was a public decision sent to the world with consequences attached. It read like a courtroom case against the king. It listed grievances to justify a break that could be called treason. But its deepest power was not legal. It was psychological. It told soldiers and civilians what the fight was supposed to mean. And it told foreign powers, especially France, that the rebels were serious. No French support, no real chance. So the Declaration was also a signal flare. Inside the colonies, unity was fragile. New England, the Mid-Atlantic, and the South did not share the same economy. Merchants, farmers, enslavers, and laborers all had different stakes. Some feared British tyranny, others feared local elites more than distant London, and many feared that the war would unleash chaos they could not control. Meanwhile, the revolution was not one story. Enslaved people saw a crack in the system and searched for escape. Some joined the Patriots, hoping freedom would follow. Some fled to the British, who sometimes offered liberation for service. Native nations faced a brutal reality. Both sides could threaten their land, their autonomy, and their survival. Many tried diplomacy, neutrality, or strategic alliances. Others fought and paid a devastating price. So when Americans celebrate 1776, we should ask, who was included in the we? This is where the story becomes powerful. The Declaration created a promise bigger than its reality. A promise is dangerous because people can quote it back at you. That is exactly what happened. Abolitionists pointed to equal and demanded an end to slavery. Women's rights activists did the same and demanded full citizenship. Civil rights leaders did the same and demanded equal protection in real life. The founding text became a measuring stick. It allowed future Americans to call the nation to account. That is why 1776 still feels alive. Some people treat it as sacred. Some treat it as unfinished business. Most Americans, even if they disagree, live inside that tension. If you tell only the heroic version, you lose the warning signs. If you tell only the cynical version, you miss the courage of the gamble. The founders were not gods. They were humans under pressure, making choices with limited information. They wrote ideals that inspired the world. They also protected interests that created deep injustice. Both things can be true at the same time. That is not a reason to erase the story. It is a reason to understand it honestly. As America 250 approaches, the real question is not, was it perfect? The real question is, what do we do with the promise now? Because every generation rereads 1776 and asks, does this apply to me too? That question fuels America's best reforms and its loudest conflicts. And that is the real legacy of 1776. A nation built on an idea it keeps trying to catch up to. If you want more stories like this, hit the like button so YouTube shows it to more people. Subscribe to History Refuge for weekly history that cuts through the myth and keeps the truth alive.